Okay. All right. Thank you for being here, everyone. Welcome, Barbara. Um, so, does anyone have a conflict of interest with today's agenda?
No conflict, Tom site.
Okay.
Not Laurie.
No for Laurie, no for Randall. Okay. Do we do the minutes approved for the last meeting? I guess. I think we had the last meeting was a recording.
So I think we let that stand as the minutes.
Okay.
Lynne did take, so the last committee meeting, Lynne did take minutes.
All right. So
And there's a link from the agenda, which I should get that agenda.
okay. Well, I was kind of winging it on past agendas. I think we have last time we said we would continue with the basically the same points that we had from previous and get updates from each of those items. So did we determine, well, I have asked if anyone had a conflict with the minutes of the last meeting or any edits or changes suggested. I don't have any suggestions for minutes. Lynn,
No.
Beautiful minutes you prepared.
No suggestions.
Okay. Tom, none.
None?
Laurie?
No.
None. Okay, thank you. All right, well, there've been a little back and forth today with the minimal amount of people who could talk individually to each other about the keynote presentation and the AI. So I think the first item I'd like to get to today is to talk about the considerations of the AI generated.
So Rand, it's a public meeting and you've got an agenda, so you should follow it.
Well, the agenda as I remembered it, maybe you can refresh my memory. I thought.
I just put it in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can like vote to change the order or whatever, but
Okay.
but I want to make sure that we are like covering the material that we published that we would cover, so that because it's a public meeting.
Sure. Okay. Well, let's see, that's number 7. Debrief.
And I think talking about the AI, you can several of these can could cover that, but
yeah, because I think Lynn's timeline, I'd rather have after we've had this discussion, see if that affects anything. It probably doesn't.
okay. So what you do is you say like move to amend the agenda to move Lynn's timeline to item 9 or 10, and no one objects, and then you're done. So
Okay.
Or you could say, if no one objects, I'm going to.
yeah.
No one objects. I'd like to both debrief, do number 6 and number 7 before Lynn's timeline check-in. If no one has an objection.
I have no objection.
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we've had our two meeting, or the fourth and the third and fourth meetings, and we've generated 2 reports from AI that have been helpful. We've had the fourth meeting that reviewed and gave us more input, and then got a second generated AI report. And hopefully all of you have reviewed that. I've heard from Tom, I've heard from Laurie, and I have my own edits, and Tom has actually prepared another keynote that includes his edits. So I'm interested in how to fuse these different comments, and maybe we could use Tom's keynote as a way to include his edits and add any additional edits we've come up with on that document. It's an active document and includes a lot of the information. Is that I think that seemed like a reasonable approach to adding our individual inputs to the AI generated aspect of it and work with that?
It does. I think I wanted to ask Tom because I have grown to have, I always had a lot of respect for Tom as a professional in this area. However,
However,
or in addition to, as we might say, as someone who spent a lot of time in communications in my career, I wanted to ask Tom kind of how he feels about the job AI is doing, because I have not worked with it a lot, and I'm most concerned that we be, first and foremost accurate, but second of all, that we're bringing clear communication to provide access to the community. So Tom, you have a unique perspective on this, because, technical writers have a really high bar to get over, not just in terms of some of the people I have to work with, but also in terms of the document has to really, do the job. It's really critical writing. So I just wanted to I wanted to step up 2,000 feet from the immediate and just get your perspective on how this fits.
well, I think the gems that the AI culled out of the notes that we had were very good. However, what it produced was fairly stilted. And I think there were probably more points there, more major points and less minor points than I would have. And I've got a presentation that summarizes where I think we need to condense. I didn't see anything other than one minor thing, which I can point out, which I can't recall right now, that it had dropped. I didn't remember anything that had dropped. So I think it was accurate as nearly as I can remember. So yeah, I think I've reworded them. I'm not completely happy with what I've done so far. I think it needs another pass, and it definitely needs the input from the rest of the subcommittee to be able to make sure that I got everything and that things are where they need to be. So the AI definitely helped. I mean, that without a doubt. I think it didn't produce something which is as readable as we would need.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. I think Laurie expressed similar sentiments about things not being included, and we can go through and include her input as we try to unify this into one document to present this week on Thursday. And I have my edits too. I'm trying to arrange my desktop so I can do all the things at the same time. It seems to not quite be able to do that. So Tom, why don't we put up, if we can work with Jeff to share your screen. If he received it, he could do it, or if you could do it, then you could edit as we go. I think that would be.
Yeah. I need permission to share.
Jeff, are you there?
You should be good now, Tom.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so what my process on this was is I took the PDF as it was and I condensed it into a presentation, taking the bullets as they were and making minor changes. And that that version of it, R0, when it's up on the steering committee's Google Drive. Everybody have a pointer to that, by the way?
pointer to
So-
that.
I don't.
Okay, I'll put one in the chat as soon as I'm done. Or maybe Jeff, if you could. Just a pointer to the library.
So do we want a pointer to the whole library or to this file or
Actually, to the whole library would be very good. And then I
okay,
can navigate them from there.
we'll start that. Okay.
And there's a subdirectory that when you follow that link called values and vision, I think, and then under it, there are two presentations, Nesquin visions and values, R0 and R1. This is R1, which in spite of the fact that I said R0 there, this is now going to be R2. So first thing let me do is change this. And I am a bugbear on version control. If any change is made, then we have a new version.
Okay,
Even if it's just punctuation change. And so I will now make this R2. And none of this is sacrosanct, none of this is golden. We can change everything. So
okay.
I have
Let's
no
hope
problem.
not.
Well, okay. So there were five, or excuse me, there were six major bullets. To me, that they sort of condensed back into four major bullets: safety and reliance, resilience, community character, stewardship, and the family focused and education minded. I'm not sure what that seems a little clunky, but I couldn't think of anything better. But we can talk about that when we get there. So for each one of these, there are sub bullets, and I've moved around some of the sub bullets that were used to belong to the ones that have disappeared, and I'll try and point those out as I go. So,
Okay,
for instance, this was under a different. These two last bullets were under a different heading, and they just seemed to be under safety reliance. And also, when there was a list of things, I made them sub bullets. And
Okay.
this is one thing that was said specifically when I was in the meeting, and that got dropped. So I thought we should add that back.
okay.
So we should probably just brainstorm these. Now that we've got an overview, or you want me to run through them quickly, or how do you want to do this, Rand?
Well, I think we could do it each one and add and suggest edits as we go.
Okay,
And that way we'll, by the time we've been through them all, we will have made our, the edits to them, and then we can maybe review them all again at the end.
okay, sounds good. One of the rules is you have 5 bullets plus or minus 2. So major bullets, there's 4 here, that's okay. If there were 7, we would make it 2 slides.
I see. Okay,
So other than that, if you don't do that, that gets overwhelming. It's people just see a sea of characters on the screen rather than actually reading what's there. So this
Okay.
is probably marginal. You probably don't want more than 50 words on any slide.
Mm.
And this is right at the edge.
Okay, well, I have one to add to this,
Okay, well, I mean,
and maybe two, so I don't know.
that's okay. We can make 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. Not a problem.
Ron,
Okay, what you got? Who wants to add what?
Oh, I have, well, it's stated a little differently because I made mine in the other version. So let's see how they realistic emergency plans that I put in help prepare us rather than that prepare us. One is definitive, the other one's more like real. So we could debate whether that help prepare us for these emergencies or not. That's just a one-word edit. And then I also have one from one that didn't show up in this other one is we support infrastructure improvements that help secure community safety, health, and welfare. Because as we heard from Sarah, when you want help from the Public Works Department, if you say it helps, it's very important for community safety, health, and welfare. Those are the golden words that make them activate because they have to address those in their mandate. So I didn't want to lose that in this iteration. So I didn't see if you were.
Okay, so what did you, I've lost some words in between
I'm
support
sure.
infrastructure.
So we support infrastructure improvements that help secure community safety, health, and welfare.
Okay, that's probably too many words for a slide. It's
okay.
probably okay for a document, but it's too many words for a slide. So
Okay, can we hone it down? That helps secure, could be a little tighter.
improvements. Now, I'm assuming what we're doing is we're trying to hone this down for Thursday. So that's why I'm
Yes.
saying that too many words. Well, we should expand it more once it gets into the document and make them real sentences, but there are probably no real sentences in this whole thing now.
Okay, so I overdid it a little here. So, well, you could take out improvements and just say we support infrastructure that helps secure community safety, health, and welfare.
Okay, that's good.
So that might hone it down. I have one more for this category that is in another category, and that is we actively prepare for the impacts of climate change.
That is actually under environmental now.
Yeah, but it is safety and security. So I'm just wondering, I mean, it could be down there, but it really is about safety, actively preparing for climate change as a safety and security issue. But I mean, it's an acknowledgement that climate change exists, and that's an environmental statement of value. Anyway, I just thought we don't have to do this. I'm just putting it out there for discussion. And
just as a practical matter, I think we should, or I think we do have it here, right there. Yeah, under environmental.
Yeah, no, I saw that it was there. I just moved it up. So since this is crowded anyway, we'll leave it back down there.
That's exactly what I was going to suggest.
Okay. All right.
Little practicality.
Okay, so we'll get it out of that category, but it'll still be here.
Yeah, we do have health and welfare. Actually, if we added and welfare to this one sub-bullet here, does that cover it? Infrastructure.
Oh, okay. So let's see. I'm doing the smaller version, so I have to make it bigger. It's over here. I knew I should have kept my 15-inch screen. Yeah, I'm sure that works. Any other input on that point from other members? Okay, let's move to.
Wait.
Yeah.
Well, mine is about the realistic emergency plans that prepare us for. It seems out of balance to me to have a line that says fires, one that says floods, and other natural hazards, because I can imagine natural hazards that are as impactful as a small fire or a small flood. And it seems like, I don't know, the other natural hazard seems like it minimizes things like tsunamis, really serious storms that have huge impact with downed trees and things. Fires are really impactful, but pretty seldom. Storms are pretty often. Tsunamis are, we hope, almost never in our lifetimes. But so giving, if you're concerned about space on a page for people to read, giving 3 bullet points to fires, floods, and other natural hazards seems to me like it minimizes the natural hazards and it gives undue precedence to the fires and the floods.
Okay, how would you have it changed?
I would either list more of them, or I would maybe put the fires, floods, and other natural hazards on one line, or to me, that seems, I said it,
Okay.
yeah, it seems out of balance.
So one possible edit there, and I'm not sure realistic is the right word, because there is a mountain of state law that defines emergency plans. And an emergency plan is an emergency plan. And the state takes them pretty seriously. So I think what we want to say is our value is emergency plans that prepare us for natural hazards, disasters, and other threats to the community. Because I would just tell you that the ice storm of 2017 was a huge, we didn't list ice storm here, and yet huge amount of devastation, huge amount of people losing their homes, children, impacts, etc. So I would just say, I think it can be, rather than making the list longer, I would make it just kind of a big, broad list. We're living in a time of natural hazards and disasters, and many of which are unforeseen or unpredictable. So I would tighten it up a little bit, and I think emergency plans in and of itself is a very strong statement without realistic.
How about that?
And disasters?
And I think we should add disasters would be the only thing I'd add.
I think it's DIS, but either,
Yeah, no, I think that yeah, Webster was overrated. Besides, he's dead. Okay. I may be an editor, but I can't spell worth beans.
well, that's what Laurie said, but she did pretty well at her doing it on the spot. So I'm
Okay,
sure.
so that's quite a bit tighter. That's quite a bit better, in my opinion.
Okay, good work, everyone. Okay, next.
We got concurrence on this? Before we go next? Okay.
Do we want to add the environment into the line with the drinking water?
Did we
I
give it?
didn't understand.
Oh, did we make enough space now to put the climate change up there? Is that what you said, Laurie? The one we took out, or I tried to.
No, what I
Oh.
said was, since we mentioned the environment in the sewer system, should we mention the environment with the water system?
I'm not following.
Is there something that needs to be added to this slide then? That's somewhere else? Are you saying?
Not following, Laurie, help
I'm
us.
just asking the question.
I know, but
I don't understand the question.
how it applies to, does it apply to this group or another group of safety?
Well,
And
under reliable sewer infrastructure, you said promotes the environment. And clearly, with the water system, we're very concerned about the health of the watershed, which is the environment. I'm
Okay,
just
so
wondering if the watershed, it's assumed in sustainable supply and secure, but it's not really saying we're protecting the watershed. Also, we're just securing it, and we're making sure that there's water.
are you wondering whether or not this belongs in this slide set?
I'm wondering if we need to add something that says that we value the watershed itself, the environmental quality of the land that the safe drinking water is coming from. In the same way that 3 lines down that says protect the environment when we're talking about sewer.
Ah,
You've linked environment with the sewer system, and I would like to link environment with the water system.
Actually, come to think about it, since that does say sewer there, that isn't. And there's more to this than. Oh, okay. Pardon me while I dither.
okay.
Let me promote this. And okay, so that evens that out. But now we want to talk about the
drinking water.
drinking
its
water
environment.
supply.
Yeah.
So is that rewording this or adding something?
Secure and sustainable.
Because that sort of says it, I mean, we're going to say it more in terms of the document, what
You
that
could say
means.
a secure and sustainable watershed providing safe drinking water.
So Laurie, what is the threat to the watershed? Guy's our watershed guy, and unfortunately he's not here, but what is the threat foreseen for the watershed?
Anything, landslides, excessive water, mud,
Herbicide
herbicides.
sprays.
So I guess my question is, I don't think you can have a secure and sustainable supply of safe drinking water if the watershed is, damaged. So
Yeah.
if there were a toxic event, we can't have in the watershed, whatever it is,
Well,
we can't have a secure and sustainable supply of safe drinking water.
well,
Well, the
you
value is to have this be true.
right.
How that happens is part of what we do in terms of the,
Right.
you
So
know,
if you,
We have a big discussion going on now about securing the watershed so
Right.
that we are in control of it being safe and sustainable.
Right.
And I would think if we're using this to communicate with the community about what's important and also to governmental people who are outside the community, we need to somehow in the document, and maybe it's not here, say that
Sure.
what we're talking about is the watershed.
Right.
We want the watershed to be secure and to supply a sustainable supply of drinking water.
And so just one more question. So the threat is coming from whom or what?
Logging companies and adjacent property owners, and also things that happen on the property itself, like the landslides. Herbicides wouldn't be happening on what we own, but adjacent property owners could be doing things that impact the watershed until we own it.
Got it. So
that.
does this revision, this to me says that now that Tom's edited it?
Do you guys mind if I pop in here?
No.
depends on what you say, Jeff.
Yeah. Don't forget that part of it is how much water is drawn from the water supply. Like there's the supply side and then there's the water management side. So don't forget that.
Okay,
Well,
well, that's a sustainable
I'm not
part.
sure how that changes this bullet.
Well, it's more the discussion you were just having. Like it's
I
not
understand.
just about protecting
Yeah.
the watershed. It's also about how the water system is managed and what new development is added and whether there's water conservation measures and like that we want the county to try and impose in the community and things like that. So
Right. I agree with that because just protecting the watershed does not necessarily ensure that it's going to be secure and sustainable for everyone who's trying to use it. So
Why not? Why not?
because it's a finite amount of water, and depending on how many people hook into it, and how it's maintained, that amount of water that's in the watershed may not be safe and healthy and enough for all the people who are trying to use it.
So
In that
to
case,
that
it's not
point,
sustainable.
isn't the term of art correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the water world, they talk about not just protection, but management of the watershed, right? Which is that, no, we're not going to allow development that exceeds the capacity of the watershed. For example, we're not going to build New York City and Nesco because the watershed can't sustain it. So it's a management process. You're managing it through the regulatory process with the timber industry. You're managing it through real estate developers. You're managing. So I would say management and protection of our watershed, that makes sense.
You want and protection?
I would put protection too, because I think there is a question. They come from different sources. A lot of the management comes from, the state has a lot of management locally. We have, I know, some management of the watershed, but the protection also comes from our plan stating our values clearly, that we don't want New York City and Nesco in.
Yeah, I think that speaks to me. I hadn't thought about that, and that's definitely a good add to my uneducated mind. Does this statement
That works
now?
for me. It'll be interesting to see what Guy says, because he's the one that's the most in touch with the wording
Okay.
for water.
Are we
Okay,
good with that then? Is everybody?
yeah, I think that's good.
I think it's a big improvement. I like it. And so far, and we changed that. This one, I think that's good. Okay, any other changes to this?
No, good work.
Okay, good.
Given
good,
the
good.
conversations that we've heard about potholes, I imagine there's going to be more to be said about streets, but I don't personally have anything to add.
So I would just tell you, having never had to use walking supports before my hip replacement, that I don't think you can have pedestrian friendly streets with the potholes that we have. I think it's very much related. And I think that's why people are so nervous. So I know on our road, we've seen older people trip, fall. We've seen kids go on bicycles into potholes, trip, fall. So I think somewhere we do need to mention this pothole thing, because at the end of the day, it's a core requirement. It's the county has abrogated its responsibility here. They either need to give up the road or maintain the road. And right now they're just saying we don't have money for the road, which is, which is a problem for them and a problem for us. So, and it's hard for people who are their vision is impaired. So I want to put in a plug for potholes here, because it's a core responsibility for county government, period.
I'm not saying that it's not an important issue. What I'm saying is the words that we have there don't refer to it.
Yes, that I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I agree
There's
with you.
nothing there about maintaining safety of the surfaces.
Yeah.
Okay, so how can we say that? Give me a bullet.
Pothole repair is consistent and ongoing. Roads
surfaces are maintained for multimodal traffic. Streets are properly maintained for multimodal traffic.
including access to disabled people, which I'm not saying I am, please understand, but it's never made me so aware of how hard it must be to be disabled.
Well, I think Sarah mentioned that multimodal word group helps with a lot of different types of grants.
Good.
It might be streets are maintained for safe multimodal use or something. I'm not sure what the right words are.
If I could get a word in here, the reason I put supports infrastructure that promotes community health and community
Health and
down
welfare.
at the bottom.
Health, it should be safety in there too. Community health, what do I have here?
The usual term
that-
is health, welfare, and safety.
Yeah, health, welfare, and safety.
Yeah.
That is in there to deal specifically with roads, creeks, and all that stuff. And the things that you're pointing out fit within this one at the bottom that says supports infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
Yeah, and that's roads, that's the bridges, those are the things that we change. And I don't know if you were there, Lynn, when I kind of went through the whole thing of partnerships with the county about how if we work with the county, they can do improvements. They can't do it alone because they don't have the equipment anymore, but they can provide supplies of that's why I'm encouraging road districts, and Guy is doing some specific research with the cities, whatever it's called, Legion of Cities or Association of Cities, about what are the benefits and drawbacks of road districts. And I don't think we can write off the county and just wag our finger at them. They're not going to get more money unless something changes dramatically. So what we want to do is look for ways to become partners with them and coordinate things that need fixing with some private funds and public funds
Yes.
to fix things. So
Yeah.
that, if you over talk it in the beginning, then I guess maybe get rid of the one at the bottom. But I think the one at the bottom was meant to address this specifically. And the thing at the top is more of a character and saying the goal is to make it safe for all these people. I get that. But the bottom one is how you do that.
Yes,
Okay.
and I
So-
agree, Rand, and I would just leave both as they are. Because
Okay.
we can't say it enough. And I, someday over a glass of wine, we can have a great conversation about the county's lack of money, but also the new money they get and where it goes. And again,
Okay.
roads are a primary responsibility, or they
Right.
can, so we'll talk about that later. But I think it's great as it is because it says, I liked it with the streets being safe for multimodal traffic and automobile traffic's the lowest priority. That sends the vibe that we want to send about what we expect the streets to look like around there. And then the infrastructure one comes in and says, okay, and yeah, we got to work together to get it safe.
Okay.
So
Sounds
do
Okay,
you like the
so
way it was
as-
rearranged?
I just did some speculative editing here. I can always do an undo, but I've taken those bottom two bullets from the top and moved them down and then made a complete statement out of the first one. Is that what people are wanting?
I think that looks
Looks
good.
good to me.
Yeah, good work.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I do. I do speculative editing and that's Control Z. I have that memorized. I can undo at a flash. Okay. So we have pretty well done that one. Maybe we should let this one rest and we'll come back and look at it.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
And let me do a save here just in case catastrophe happens. Okay. Community character values.
Okay. I have one that I think disappeared, and that is we support effective community organizations and their activities.
That sounds, well, where that,
Is there,
That's-
did it appear and I didn't see it?
no, I don't remember seeing that.
Okay.
I don't think it was in the PDF. Because I didn't delete anything from the PDF.
Well, we had a thing that said that, there was in the character of the community with volunteer community organizations and emergency workers and that whole piece. So
That
I just,
wasn't on the PDF you just put out. today. At least I don't see it.
Right, no, that's why I'm putting it back in
Oh, okay.
to a place
Gotcha.
where I thought it would
Sorry,
fit.
I misunderstood. Sorry. Does that belong here?
Community character, we support effective volunteer community organizations in their activities. I think that's, or I don't know where else it would fit.
Okay, well, we can move it around if we need to. Support community organization.
Oh, I'm sorry, we support effective volunteer community organizations and their activities.
Support effective community.
Effective volunteer community organizations and their activities. So that'd be the NCA, maybe includes the golf course, the farmer's market. Those are the three that jump out to me. Nesco
Okay.
Women's, yeah.
Which
Okay.
I don't know if it's in those examples you just gave. One of the things NESCOIN does exceptionally well is build effective volunteer community organizations.
Yeah,
So Sarah Everett tells us that's something that the county feels good about because it saves them from having to do stuff or whatever. I think we should really shine a bright light on it because it is really kind of an amazing community in that regard in my experience, and we do it just very well. So
mhm. Yeah, well, that's why
Okay.
that's why
So-
we've wanted to include it.
Is that bullet capture what you want?
Yep.
Um,
Okay. Are there any bullets here that need to change?
Let's see.
I think that the development of guidelines that preserve the unique character of our distinct neighborhoods, was that the discussion? I'm trying to remember which meeting it was. Is that about South Beach? I can't remember what that was
Well,
about.
I mean, that was the example that South Beach is very different than the original village. So
I think that one came from, I believe it was Roger who said that he thought that that we were too village focused in some of the words that were being said, and that there was more neighborhoods than just the village and they had different characters.
that's my recollection.
And
Okay,
also
good.
Bill,
I was just trying to pin it down. I think what you've got there says it. So I just was refreshing my memory.
yeah, I think Bill Miller was pointing out that we didn't have control over design guidelines, and so development guidelines kind of spoke better to it than design or construction. So that was the guidelines went from construction to design to development. That's the transitions I remember. To preserve the unique character of distinct neighborhoods. So I think it works pretty well now. I don't, now I'm trying to look at two documents at the same time. Do we limit commercial activity to maintain primarily residential focus in this?
That's in the, that's this
It's on
bullet
the
right there.
slide.
What?
It's on the slide.
It's right there.
Okay, right, okay, I'm squeezed on a tiny screen, so it's difficult to. So good, if it's there, then I'm not worried about it. It's
Yeah.
good.
I have a tiny screen too. Mine's 24 inches.
Mine's 13, so
Oh,
it's
oh.
a struggle. And it's got all my formatting thing is on one side, so I lose part of the other document behind that, so.
Okay.
Okay, good, I'm glad that's there. I had just redlined
Yeah.
it, so I wanted to understand if it stayed there.
Okay.
Okay,
Anything else needs to change or to be discussed?
I think that's it for this group at this time. Okay, environmental stewardship.
This first bullet looks a little weak to me. In the way that the other one, it by listing specific things, we dilute the possibility of other things. What do you think about just having diverse habitats? Or is that too
Yeah.
nebulous? I don't know. Any opinions on that?
So
I think the thing that this current presentation does, which excuse me, which I like, is that it says that Nesco Inn is not just the beach, it's the forests and the habitats. And then we have a US Fish and Wildlife Reserve,
refuge.
refuge, excuse me, in Nesco Inn, which is no small thing for a community the size that we are. So I think, and that gets captured by diverse habitat. So I think you've got the
You're
map.
okay with that?
I think it kind of pulls in a visual image that will help people.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it is justified.
Okay.
And then sustainable practices. Impact on the environment. Yeah, I think those are good ones.
So I did some slight rewording, but it's basically what was there before.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, that holds up well.
Okay. This first bullet actually was this was combined. I thought they needed to be standalone.
Right, so I have on the second one, we support quality educational opportunities that enrich the lives of community members of all ages. And then singling it out on children, I think
Oh, very good. Very good.
we all benefit. So community, lives of community members of all ages.
Good.
That might even include me. All right. All right. Okay. This is a statement rather than a value. Probably needs a little bit of wordsmithing. I can't think of it right now. The voice in this particular bullet is different than the others. So
Yes.
I've been trying to think of a statement which I haven't come up with yet exactly that talks about Nesco Inn valuing not only the arts, but the artists, the people that create the art and also create other things like canoes and vegetables for the farmers market. And I don't know, the people that are actually making things for the community enrichment and use from within the community. And I don't,
Yeah.
like I said, I haven't come up with the right words for it, but if
yeah.
I think that Nesco Inn does value that, they very much value the people within the community that create things of all kinds, even like carpenters and gardeners. I'm not sure they're all artisans. I think in Portland, people talk about makers a lot. Anyway, I do think that's a value in Nesco Inn, and it would be wonderful to include it.
Yeah. So I think I got captured the artist and the arts are a vital part of the unique identity. I think that's a good change. I think something saying about valuing makers. Yeah, I'm struggling for words, but I agree.
So one of the things, I don't know how we say this, and this may be a different point, Laurie, so you just tell me. One of the things about Nesco Inn, and I agree with the arts part and the makers part, but one of the things that's been true about Nesco Inn for at least 68 years, and I think it's more like 85 at this point, is Nesco Inn has been a place that's not keeping track of who's who, right?
Mhm.
NASCON has a level of community cohesiveness or humility that is very hard to maintain, but it has been there from the beginning. You know, some of us first came to NASCON and we stayed in the campground, which was right by the creek. And so I think it is a place. I'm always intrigued by people who've never been there before, and they come and they go, you know, no one's keeping score here. Everyone's just kind of nice and friendly and really different, all kinds of different people there of all, but we have accomplished something for decades now that other communities are just trying to figure out how to do and may never achieve. So I don't know if that's not really the makers and artists concept, but
It's really more, isn't that more of the community character values?
yes, although I'm not sure we say anything there that is
No, well, I'm saying if we were to put
Yeah.
something, it probably belongs there.
and
There's a little bit of that in the neighbors help neighbors, but I agree with you. It goes a lot farther than that.
it's a lot. So people honor people's privacy. You know, you can have privacy in NASCON. It's a really small place, and if you just want to be reading your book on the beach, people are gonna. It's a live and let live tolerance that could be a model for people. It's a really nice example of live and let live. So I don't.
Work on that, Lynn. Work on that wording.
I just don't want us to be an elitist, cute little boutique place where it's all just because I value the people who make the pizza. You know, every time I don't have to cook dinner for 6 people, I'm thanking those pizza makers up there.
Well, that's
Well,
one of the things that back to my other one, you know, that it's not just the artists, but it's the actual people, and I don't know, deeper than just making the pizza, but also the people that make the pizza, like the people that actually do things in NASCON that the rest of us enjoy the fruits of.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, something like that. You can put it under community characters, the live and let live, just as a placeholder, knowing that we want to expand on that.
Yeah, I would just, if you put live and let live there, then I'll think on it and see if I can come up with something better. But that's basically, you know, we used to say in Alaska that, which had some pretty intense politics, but in Alaska is maybe the last state in the country, I hope not, where your car goes into a ditch, you're going to have so many people helping you. You're going to have a hard time driving the car out of the ditch because so many people are going to be helping you, and they're going to be all over the map in terms of whether they have anything in common with anyone else. And there's a real air of that in NASCON.
I've actually experienced that very thing near the fire hall with the car that went off the road, and probably 12 people stopped, and we all pulled the car out of the thing and saved them from getting towed. So yeah, it can happen. Back on this art, I think artists and artisans are a vital part. I think artisans does cover people who are farming, who are doing all those, who are the makers. I know the makers is a new term, but it doesn't necessarily work for vegetables, or, I mean, they're growing vegetables, they're not making.
Oh, yeah. And artisanal vegetables. I'm just being argumentative, sorry.
Okay, well, I do think farmers are artisans by all means in going
Well,
around the world. There's
winemakers
one of
are.
the people.
I
What?
think that covers makers.
Yep, that's good. Thank you for that.
Sure. Okay.
I'm happy. So we still haven't come up with something along that line. I think I understand what you mean, and I like that. I just can't think of how to say it.
Okay.
One-
None of us
one-
have come up with it yet, but we will.
One other aspect of it occurs to me is that I'm a member of CERT, and the fact that we have so many people in this community who are CERT members, I think is important and impressive. I don't know where we put that or how we put that.
Well, that was kind of what Liz was saying about the emergency, even the EMTs and the people who show up, and there's a need for people in the fire department, the everyday emergency people deserve some credit here somewhere that they are important to us. And I'm not sure if that's community or safety and resilience. But we had included previously emergency workers. That was the thing about volunteers, and then included emergency workers. So it would, if we squeezed it into the community organizations, support effective voluntary community organizations, which,
I
I
don't
mean,
remember where
in their
that is.
activities, well, that's in community
Yeah.
character. So it either under that in the policy and procedures, it could include emergency workers and, because it's
Yeah,
so maybe I don't
I
know
think
how to
we
remember to do all these things, but
okay, so I think almost every one of these could be a paragraph in the
right.
document itself. And
Uh-huh.
we're just we're meant to represent the idea. And if you put CERT under the effective volunteer or community organization, so then that's covered.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so
Unless you
one
want to
of
call
the
them.
things, to your point, Tom, and we've talked about this, Sarah talks about it a lot, is the county using this as a tool to support decision-making and grant-making, which is something that I don't think LCDC focuses on particularly, but clearly Tillamook County does. And so one of the things that I thought is the county, to your earlier point, Rhian, that we want these partnerships where we work together to solve problems. Well, CERT is a big part of that. The fact that we've built up that capacity in our community, it seems to me somewhere in the document, if we say we have X CERT certified people, even if it's in, I leave it to you, Tom, where it should go. It's an important thing to kind of give the examples of our community success here in the document. And part of the reason I think that's important is not just for the county, but it wouldn't be a bad idea, the direction this is going and the clarity of it, to have this be something that you get when you buy your house, or when you buy, you could hand this out to people and kind of say, here's who we are.
Yeah, I agree that should be, that's one of the uses of the document, is this is our community.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, so we could put CERT under this.
yep.
Yeah, I think CERT and all emergency workers are, yeah.
Personnel, workers, I don't know.
Well, it's volunteer emergency.
Yeah.
Volunteer.
Underscore volunteer.
Personnel or members or.
And should we spell out CERT? Does everyone know what that is?
Yeah, I do. Citizen Emergency,
Citizens, emergency response team,
response
It's
team.
community emergency response team.
Oh,
community, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Community, thank you.
maybe all other emergency team members. Volunteer emergency team members. They're not really personnel. They're not personal.
Yeah, definitely not personal.
Maybe get rid of other and just, then you could fit in, you don't call them personnel, I guess, because they're not,
Oh, volunteer. emergency-
Resources?
I
Yeah,
think-
I'm gonna stick my nose in again. I think you want to elevate the volunteer firefighter people at least as much as, sorry,
Yeah,
okay.
because they go through a lot of training, that like those people really
Yep.
are putting a lot of themselves to keep the community safe. So
maybe this needs to be a major bullet by itself. And with
Hmm.
maybe that's not the right term. Is firefighters one word or two?
I think it's
Hmm.
one.
it's one.
Okay, that's what Microsoft thinks.
Is it firefighters and EMS?
Um,
Is
EMT.
EMT?
EMTs.
EMTs, I think.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're both volunteering under the auspices of the fire district. So maybe they get on the same line. I don't know.
So I have to go, somebody's just driven up and I have to run and talk to them. So we have, I think that the next category, and you self-regulate for a minute here.
Well,
Okay.
one thing we will talk about while you're gone is the order of presentation.
Okay. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay, so is this the order we want to present them in? This is what the PDF had the order. We want to put the most important things first. What do we think is the most important?
I think community character.
I agree.
Personally, I would do family focused and education minded next, and then environmental, and then safety and resilience. Be my choice.
How's that? That's kind of a nice arc. I like that.
I think they're all important, but if you had someone, I think, as Lynn said, when people comment that they're visiting or they first are in Esquin, I think it's the character they first talk about. And the family focused is one of the reasons that they're so charmed by the character. And the environment is what allows some of the character to be there. And then you have to take care of it with the safety and the resilience.
We just did that. And let me save again. I think that's a good, it goes from the very general, kind of hard to define to concrete things that we want to make sure happen. And that's a good arc to my way of thinking.
Mhm.
Okay, are there any other values? I've got a slide that says other values. And do we have any that we can think of right offhand? I think we should leave this slide just in case somebody else comes up with something, but
My biggest one that I had thought was left out was dealing with the concept of like the farmer's market. I think we discussed that with the volunteer organizations and the makers and artisans and all. So I think we got that in a different way without specifically saying
Yeah.
farmer's market.
Okay.
I do think people have really latched onto that as one of the things
Mhm.
that makes a Nespelin weekend. We haven't said anything about the community events, like, for instance, the sand castles or the golf tournament or the, you know, I don't know if we want to, but Nespelin definitely celebrates holidays.
Community events, okay, let's develop that.
And I would say low key or like grassroots community events or something like that. Not as flashy as some other place. Well, they're becoming more flashy, but they didn't used to be very flashy.
Well, okay, Rand, you're back.
Yeah, what happened?
We changed everything.
Should I leave again?
No, no.
I don't know, we want to stop change, so you stay. Okay, so we just talked about an order, and this looked like a good arc from kind of personal to very
Yeah.
concrete plans.
Yeah.
And that seemed like the right order.
I like it. Yeah, I like
So
that.
I've rearranged the slides to that.
Okay. Wow. A lot happened when I walked out the door.
Well, I mean, you got to be careful when you leave the gavel to somebody else. Okay, so right now we were discussing grassroots community events as being a community character value. That
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree. That's a big deal. We still haven't got anything that says live and let live, but I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if we've got live and let live in those two bullets at the top. I was just reading those again.
I think spirit of inclusivity is a really big one for the idea that you accept people as you engage with them, and it's not like, oh, who is this? I better talk a certain way, or I mean, I don't think that happens much at all.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the equality of village life, even though village life is not. How about neighborhood life?
Yeah, I think the only thing I was thinking is that inclusivity is such a, in these times has a whole separate meaning almost. It's accurately used here. So I think the important part of that sentence is I would rather say a spirit of community where everyone feels welcome and respected, but it's fine as is. And then the friendly atmosphere where neighbors and what I would suggest, because I think this is important, like on the 4th of July, is neighbors and visitors support each other's. It's not just the people who live there we all support each other. So we want to build that into people who are visiting.
All right, good.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, a lot has happened here today.
Yeah, we hardly changed that PDF at all.
It's a new map. Okay. Well, are we comfortable with this for Thursday's next iteration?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure, Laurie. I've heard from Laurie there.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Okay. Well,
I'll do a save.
I'm not sure where this runs on the agenda because I don't have it here in front of me, but I'm curious about how something like this would be presented at the community meeting. Would we do the PowerPoint or would we have it on big pieces of paper or what would we be doing?
I think the PowerPoint would be better. That way the people who are not in the room will have equal access to it. It's a lot easier for people, if people who are there can look up and see what's happening, just the way the people who are online look up and see what's happening. So I think it's a big advantage, since we've got a screen, go ahead and use it for that. And besides, it saves paper.
Actually, I'm talking about
Sunday.
the community association meeting where we just have a short period of time at the big meeting and there is
okay.
no
Sorry.
Zoom.
I didn't catch that, sorry.
Yeah, so I think Sarah indicated she'd be willing to print stuff out for that meeting, which is about 100 pieces. And I believe this works on one sheet that's readable by an individual. Do you think, Tom? Think that it's a one pager? Maybe.
Yeah,
No.
pretty close, yeah. So
You know,
so the meeting on the 26th, is that, you mentioned that in an email to me, but I don't know what that is.
okay, so the Community Association, the NESCO and Community Association has 2 meetings a year that are general meetings on Memorial Day and Labor Day, and they're both at the fire hall, move out the trucks, and customarily 75 to 100 people show up. So it's a
Okay.
built-in crowd. It's the beginning of the summer and all the other meetings we're going to have. So I want to get them engaged because it's a bigger group than we usually are able to contact live. And so I'd like to put one on every seat and let people read it. And then when we present, say this is the 6th meeting. We've had a number of hybrid meetings. We really want to get these, we believe these values are getting close for making the implementing recommendations part of our program. Well, I'd like to have the timeline ready by then. It might be on the backside. I don't know if that's possible, but that would help them put it into perspective and in
Okay.
time. So if they got a piece of paper that had this information on one side and the timeline on the other, and it would really help our explanation because even
Yep.
I'm stumbling through it as I'm saying it. So go ahead, Lynn.
No, I was just agreeing with you. I think you're exactly right. And I think that timeline in the PDF form, I sent it to you guys last night, to you and
Yeah.
Jeff. But I think that helps people, that communicates the urgency for kind of focusing and doing this right now. And I think people love to have it on their chairs, just so they have it.
Hmm.
Right, that would be helpful. I think it just gives it context in time and space and a little more urgency, as you say. So the timeline probably needs to be kind of laid out as I can work with it to create a time bar or something with dates and the events attached to them so that they can look horizontally across the page and see these are happening in these time periods and give them a better idea of what we're working with, and that this draft document is still a work in progress, but it's been the result of public meetings for the last 2.5 months. So that is my kind of general pitch, but we do need to fill in the blanks here as to what exactly will be presented that day to make this more vital. I'm sure Jeff will have input as to which statements would be the most moving to people in the shortest amount of time. That's kind of what we have to do. We'll only have about 10 minutes on the agenda.
So I just took the liberty of taking what we've done today and turning it into a single page.
Okay.
Looks like it fits okay.
Yeah.
Probably
I
increase
think
it.
that's super cool. If we had something that had this on one page and the timeline on the back, we're not going to be talking ordinances by the 26th. I'll just tell you that. And I think there's a
No.
whole we won't be that far.
No, but we're letting them know that with this, with this document drafted at this point in time, as we review the implementing ordinances, if we can identify more values, we will add them because this is still a draft, but that these are the basic tenets of our vision and values that will get fleshed out as the document grows. As Tom said, some of these will be paragraphs instead of just bullet points. And so it gives them a pretty good feel for what we're doing. And if they see it in time, I think they'll have an idea. Maybe they want to get engaged more. That's what I'm hoping for. This kind of a recruitment and public acknowledgement moment for the document.
Yep.
So at the
Good
top,
idea.
I think it needs to say draft.
Yeah,
The plan
Yes.
yeah.
as
I'll-
a. with
I'll
Put it on the page.
Yeah, that's what it's called, and I will format this, make these, bold and such. This is just a rough format.
Yeah.
Just to note.
See if it's possible.
Now, I'm gonna.
I know
speak
Jeff is
in,
ready to speak.
And if forgive, I stepped away, so forgive me if I missed something. Have you accounted for the fact that you have 2 more input meetings between now and the 26th?
Well, we're considering after Thursday, maybe saying that's enough and just
Okay.
doing Monday. So
But-
we'll have to
but you-
when we give notice of that's why I asked you, do we have a an opportunity to prompt people before the Thursday meeting?
What,
Or have
so
we used up
I
all
was planning for a additional email about these meetings. So we have an email budgeted, and if you want to include remember, like, the email body doesn't have a lot of room.
Okay,
Like, we can't put a big kind of like, here, read all this stuff in the email body because it's really much more of a digest sort of situation.
yeah,
We can guide that, we can link them to a PDF or guide them to something else, but like, I have to warn you, like, not that many people, like, you'll be lucky if 20 people look at it. So
okay. Well, if they were the 20 that were gonna show up Saturday, then we hit our target.
but so you're thinking about just having one more meeting, but you still, like, will have input that is not currently reflected in this document that you're preparing for the 26th. So I just want to kind of make sure you're thinking about that.
I think we are, and I think so. 2 things. One, I think it makes us look efficient to say we've had not that we need to look efficient, but that we had these meetings. We had, I think, very unexpectedly high turnout. We had very clear thinking and vocalization. But yes, we can take this one pager and edit it before the 26th. Based on the conversation, I have confidence if Tom, I mean, I'll be on the meeting tomorrow night at 7:00, but we could certainly convene before the 26th and just finalize it. And I would have confidence in any of you tweaking it in any way. But I think it looks like, we're using people's times wisely. We've got a very concise product, and we're on track. And I think sending that message out on the 26th is really to our advantage.
Okay. And since you just brought it up, Lynn, I want to add, because if you want to meet again, we have to notice it.
Right. And here's what I would say. I would be more than comfortable with Laurie and Ran or Tom and any combination of 2 of you, so we don't have to bump into the open meetings law, editing what we hear tomorrow night into this version right here. Because I bet when I have it
By
all.
the way, it's Thursday night, Lynn, not tomorrow.
I'm sorry. Yes, Thursday. When I look at this document and all at one time instead of on slide by slide, I can really see how to shoehorn almost anything in that we may have. I bet we can shoehorn anything in we need. And the value of having it one page is immense.
Yeah, I
So-
don't foresee wild additions to this. I see more fine tuning, but at the same time, even if we might hear something Thursday that we don't include because it's too much, and we just present this document
Yeah.
and because it's a draft and we're still working on it. So
Exactly.
this will essentially be what we would share on Sunday. And if there's something we can squeak or tweak after Thursday, fine. But I think we can, we know we're going to keep working on this, and we'll say, here it is at this point in time.
Good
And
point.
show the point in time that it is on the timeline. And that will be a real big aha moment for all those people, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay.
All right. Well, so then we've I guess I would ask that this is this piece is in the shape it's going to be for Thursday and possibly for Sunday at this point. And thank you for this document. And move to maybe we should just jump to Lynn's timeline, since that's an important piece. And I think maybe Jeff has that. Do you have it, Tom? I think Jeff has it. I have it, but I don't need to present it. I think,
I can send it to Tom.
or Jeff, do you have it, or?
Lynn, yeah, I got it. Like, do you want me to present it? Is that
Okay.
Yeah, if you could share that, and then
Okay.
we can look at how to present it. And it could work in the
one
form that
moment while
it is.
I find that.
Yeah, so it could work in the form that it is, because I mean, obviously Lynn designed it that way, and it's functional to understand time and the subjects as they occur. Sometimes a graphic on a kind of a linear fashion with the things over dates is effective also. So we can discuss the presentation format for this when we're looking at it, and then see what we want to do. And then I'm happy to work on that in Pages or something where I can do a layout and actually form it into a yeah.
There it is.
So it's got the information on a month-to-month basis, and then we
Who's
might have to
accountable?
we might have to explain SB 406 to some degree,
Yeah.
but and we probably won't include the people part. That's kind of an internal piece of information, but I think that this helps people see when we're going to do stuff, and gives them a little sense of when it will be completed for the county. So I would just suggest that I will mess with this, and unless someone else is a timeline expert, which I would welcome, another timeline graphic designer expert. But I'm willing to take it on because I know other people are busy too. So everyone have a chance to read it?
Looks good to me.
Okay. So
If you want to
it's,
make that a graphic, feel
pardon
free.
me?
If you want to make
Okay.
that a graphic, feel free.
Okay, and I will do it and send it around, and if I get like this doesn't work, Rand, then we'll just clean this one up from take the names off and use this if the other thing doesn't work. But I think I could design something. We'll give it a try. Okay, thank you, Lynn, for putting this together.
Well, I wish I had the computer graphic skills to do it. I just, but I think it captures it well, and it's very maybe too concise, but nonetheless, people just want to know the bullets. So I think we got it for them.
Yeah, I think so. So I will work this with this document and should be able to share it with you in the next day or so. And then you guys can give me feedback and we can see if I can create a graphic that works. And if not, we'll mess with it further and try and keep it clear and concise. Not my expertise, but somehow I can do it. Okay, and then we were looking for an update from Tom, and I know you had we all had a glorious time on Saturday and made it through that and passed the bylaws, so congratulations.
Thank you.
That's fantastic, and I was really happy the community showed up to support the work that you've done and that the group has done, and so I think gratitude all around. It's really been quite a process.
Yeah, well, there was a lot more that happened between when everybody said yes and we sent something off to the county. So I have
Yeah,
had no time to work on the document.
okay. Well, that's a reasonable update because it got passed. You did more work on it. It's gone to the county. Those are the words that we all wanted to hear.
Not only that, the county liked it.
Oh, nice, nice. Well, okay, so we'll check back in next time about the overall document update. And Doc Sievert doesn't seem to be here today. Maybe he's meeting with Sarah.
I think so, because the meeting kept getting canceled over and over. And
I know.
one of the things we have to get really clear on is, first of all, and I know that part of the reason for this whole timeline was to get Sarah sharply focused that we need this Senate Bill 406 piece to come in.
Yeah.
And it is, it's the driving force. They got money to do it. It's got to come into our process. So I think they were going to talk about that. And also, they were going to go over the ordinances that weren't passed the last time and why did that happen? And what do we do? Guy is very anxious to talk about ordinance drafts. And
Right.
so we need to get clarity on that to make our work productive. And hopefully they got together and we can move forward on those issues because we're just on hold right now.
Yeah, between Guy and I have guys trying to be more cautious, but as chair, I've mentioned it every time that I've talked to her and she's aware of it, but she's just stretched. So we do have to get that done or else we kind of get stuck with the 406 issue. But
I do have very sincere sympathy for the county from the standpoint that it's always hard to be the next rung down on the ladder. And so the state just passes all this stuff and hands it off to the county. And the counties don't have the financial flexibility that the state does. So it gets very difficult. They have to prioritize. And I'd rather have the county council come back to us and just say, look, people, you can say whatever you want, but the county plan, the community plan is probably going to be updated again before there's much new ordinance making beyond Senate Bill 406. I mean, it's the ordinance process competing with the legislative process. And the problem with the ordinance process is they've got to actually do it. Laws can get passed all the time and, can take years. But so we need to be attentive to what county council and Sarah tell us, because I'd rather under promise and over deliver than have people feel like, oh, well, wait, we decided on all those ordinances. Well, we're just going to have to see.
all right. Well, I don't have that. My agenda is about 3 documents deep underneath everything. I have public comments, which we don't have the public here.
So you guys, I have the agenda.
You have an agenda, of course you do.
Or you guys need to decide what you're doing in June.
Well, that's the Sarah meeting. That's what we were just talking about, Jeff.
Okay.
We don't know.
But meaning like dates, like
for our meetings?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
June. I have a meeting for us currently on June 3rd.
No, it's input meetings, like the next tier of your process in terms of when you're going to be inviting people, because and so I'm going to be on vacation from like the 4th to basically the first and second week of June. I'm not going to be gone the entire 2 weeks, but there's going to be 2 weeks there where there's not going to be any emails going out. So we need to make sure that you know what you want to do ahead of time or plan for much later in June.
So how about this? Here's an idea, given that we don't know we certainly don't know when Sarah's available, or more importantly, the 406 crew is available, because that's a big chunk. So, and that's going to be the contentious part.
Mhm. Yes.
So as I look at my calendar, we have our meeting, but in terms of, you mean for the public meeting, right?
Right.
Right.
Like, because you're planning to have them every month, right?
Yes, but I think we should talk about setting that up now and put a tentative in parentheses under it, notice it,
Sure.
and say subject to change. But I think you're exactly right. It has to be towards the end of the month of June. And I would suggest, looking at a calendar here, like the 406 meeting should be a Saturday meeting. I mean, I would like as many people to feel like they have physical access to that meeting as possible. So maybe that's like the 22nd.
Well, the 22nd is the tentative date for the June meeting for the CAC. So that, like we haven't made it official, but we tentatively picked it last month, and no one has announced that they need to change it. So that's probably what it's going to be.
What about the 29th of June?
If the main meeting is on the 22nd, so basically whichever between the 22nd and the 29th, we don't have a general meeting, like you should have a meeting. And right now, the best knowledge that we're going to meet, the CAC as a whole will meet on the 22nd, and then you guys can meet the 29th.
Let's do it.
And I would suggest doing it in the afternoon, because it's farmers market season.
Okay. Can we make it like 1 in the afternoon instead of late afternoon when people are kind of too
Sure,
relaxed?
like the farmers market is done at 1. So then, like most people will already have their farmers market outings, and it's tough because, well, I guess June is often kind of foggy, right? So maybe people will still be inside. So
Okay.
But Saturday meetings in the summer are always going to be kind of tough. But
Okay. So do you think 1, or do you think we should make it 2 so people eat lunch before they come?
So for the bylaws committee, 2 p.m. worked really well.
Okay.
Would you agree with that, Tom?
Yep.
Okay, so 2 p.m.
Okay, and I would suggest that the content not solely be 406,
Right.
that there's other work to do, so that the first one might be things that you can accomplish between now and the 29th. So, and maybe it's 4 ordinances or 5 ordinances, that she said these could fly, or these are the recommendations that still are open-ended, that have life in them, that could work and that have been stated in the past, and whatever. But
And remember, you've got
content without Sarah's 406 being done. If it's not available, then we have to have other stuff.
Yep.
And remember, you've got 2 more of your own meetings to figure that out.
Yep.
Like and we don't have to notice it months in advance, but we
Right.
I need headroom so that I know that we just sorted out the possible conflict with the general meeting. Like, we needed to figure that out. I need advance notice so that I can kind of get everything queued up before I go on vacation, or know that I have to jump on it when I get back from vacation, all that stuff. So so I think knowing that we're tentatively planning to have a meeting on the 29th at 2 p.m. subject to the general meeting schedule, and that you're gonna figure out what you're gonna do with that meeting in the intervening 6 weeks, that's good.
So that seems like, given the timeline that we're talking about, our next community meeting is like 6 weeks from now.
No, well,
The
I have
next,
made-
the
I have
next
made
steering
20.
committee meeting. What?
Hmm.
If you're doing one on Thursday, this Thursday, right? And then we have the
We
one at
have
the community association, but they're not really giving feedback. They're just hearing something. The next time, it seems like leaving basically the whole month of June with nothing about the community plan after we've been making people come every other week for 2 months. It just seems like a little bit of a loss of momentum. Like even introducing the concept of the community plan that would say, this is what we're going to be working on. These were the ordinances from last time that didn't pass. This is what we think we might pass. We also need to do this 406 thing. Everybody needs to engage their brain about practical stuff. Now we're not talking about values. We're talking about getting stuff done. Go team.
So I
Yeah.
think that given that we're convening on May 26th and we're going to have 10 minutes in this really whiz bang thing, 2-pager, I think it seems a little long, yes, to June 29th, but I would tell you, for people who have children and families, June is a nuts month. It is school gets out, public school gets out. It is still one of the most common months for weddings. And it is the college graduation month in Oregon, like if you don't go to a private school. So to me, if there's 30 days between the 26th and the 29th, if there's any month that probably supports that, it's June.
Okay.
Because people are just distracted and there's too much going on.
so we can have our meetings
Yes.
every 2 weeks. So the 3rd, and then what is it, the 17th or something like that. Anyway, June 3rd will be soon after Memorial Day, the week after, and we can have that meeting to wrap that and see how that went and get some feedback, and plan the June. We should know more, hopefully after today, from Guy, and he can report at that meeting. And then we'll have one on the 17th to be ready for the meeting on the 29th and any updates. So, and if we decide that there is more to be done with a public meeting, mid-June, that is to keep the ball rolling or something like that, we can do that. We have time to notice another meeting before the 29th that would be focused on specifically implementing ordinances, but we could meet before then to review the timeline with them and say, okay, we have this document, we got good feedback on this, we're gonna try and do the same thing with the implementing ordinances, and this is what they kind of look like, and we know something at that point, and then, so that could be hatched in our own meetings.
But I just want to like kind of make sure you have the, like, if you wanted to meet, say, on June 15th, I think that could be done, but you would have to decide today. Like commit to it today, and I would get like, and also have like get the announcement ready before I went on vacation so that we could notice it before I left.
So one thing would be to bring up the concept of what's going to be happening in June at our meetings to the people that come to the meeting on Thursday, and also the people that come to the NCA meeting, and just say, if you're particularly interested in this, either tune in to the committee meetings or watch their meetings when they're posted on the web to find out what's being discussed about potential ordinances. And that could engage someone that was particularly interested in that part of the process.
Yeah, that's a good idea. The bylaws committee had lots of, or not lots of super fans, but they did have a group of people that consistently came to the meetings, and I think you would like to cultivate the same. So if you can use your next few meetings to say like, hey, like if you're really into this, come to our meetings in June. This is when they are. That seems a good aspiration.
Yep. That's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Can we put it? So are we gonna choose a time for that, or we're just being aware of that?
My concept was that they would have to take the initiative to come as a public member of our steering committee, like just like Barbara does.
But
Like,
you would just invite people to do that.
yeah, invite
Yeah.
them at the meeting this Thursday and invite them at the NCA meeting, like. This is going on. If you're interested in this next phase, the ordinances, tune into the steering committee, and then there will be a public meeting at the end of June for greater community input.
Okay,
Just to let them know what's going on in June, so they know that stuff is happening, even though we're not having these every other week meetings.
so you wanna, so should we target that Saturday, June 15th?
No, I'm talking about,
Oh.
no, I'm fine with the
Oh.
29th if we're not ready with everything until the 29th. My point is just to engage people in what's happening already if they're interested, to make sure they know that we're working on it. We're
Right.
not just like taking a pass for June and nothing's happening.
All right. But if we wanna have, Jeff, if we're having our meeting, we need to pick those dates now so that that's publishable.
Well, it sounds like everyone's okay with just meeting on the 29th.
Well, and also the steering committee, the 3rd and the 17th.
Right.
If the 3rd and the 17th is what I'm talking about and inviting to.
And,
Yeah, I
and
think-
those, yeah,
Yeah.
those were good.
Okay, all right. And so you need the agenda items for that?
I need the agenda items for the 3rd.
Okay, well,
I mean, I don't, let's see, we haven't had public comment yet, but there's no one here to comment, so it's okay.
Did Barbara leave?
Oh, yeah,
Or-
we had some comments, so they're in the chat,
oh.
but
okay.
they were all right.
Oh, it's over here. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, the agenda items, boy, it sure looks similar. We'll have, we'll have an update on the May 26th meeting. So update from public meeting, at the NCAC or the NCA. We will have, potentially Guy and Tom, updates by then. What do you think, Tom?
Yes,
Yeah, by the 3rd. And Guy, and we can review the timeline at that point to see if there's an update on that. And any other suggestions for that besides the standard items?
Oh, you probably are gonna want to talk about your meeting on the 29th.
Yes, what's ahead?
Yeah.
Yes.
Looking behind the whole meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, add that, please, the future.
But yeah, that does sound like the right stuff.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much. That was very productive with the document, and I'll shoot you something soon on the timeline if I can make that function in a different way. Otherwise, I'll clean it up, take the people off it, and we'll present it the other way. So
And
whichever-
Rand, the clubhouse is all set for Thursday?
It was still on their schedule, so let me,
Okay.
I'll
And importantly, like firm decision. When I send out an email on, well, if you want to prompt people with stuff that you want them to read before Thursday,
uh-huh.
send that to me. Make sure Tom is involved.
Well, it
I
would
think
come from him.
Yeah.
It's gonna come from him, not me.
All right.
I mean, the document is gonna come from Tom, not me.
Okay. Like, yeah, that's great. So make sure to get that to me. Like we'll send this out Wednesday. Unless you want it to go out sooner. And we're going to announce that the previously announced meeting for Saturday is canceled. Like
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
firm and correct, right?
Yes, and
Yep.
then please join us at the NCA meeting where we'll provide a short presentation.
Right. Okay. And so yes, we'll add that. And if you're gonna, and do you want the reminder with the prompt? Have you decided to do that firmly that you want some sort of document or prompt for people to look at in the email, like a link in the email to something? Hey, check this out before the meeting.
What the as far as I'm concerned, those the two documents we have, which is kind of like the handout, the one pager, and the presentation. I'm done.
Okay.
So I'll send you a link to those.
So okay, so you're ready now as far as you're concerned. Great.
Yep.
Do you want
I don't
that to
know
come
which-
Tuesday or Wednesday? Like it's Tuesday gives people a little bit more time. Wednesday, it's fresher in their mind. So like
Yeah, I think the fresher in our mind has been more effective than the,
okay, so we'll send that out Wednesday with those links, announcement that Saturday is canceled, invite people. Hey, when you come to the NCA meeting, we're going to present. So one more reason to come to the NCA meeting if you were thinking about skipping it, you want to be sure and come for our presentation. So
all right, you got it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And I think rather than sending the pointer to the presentation, just send a pointer, the one pager. I
Okay.
think that'd be better
Sounds good.
because it's the same content. I mean,
Right. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you very much, Jeff, and thanks everyone for all the input and all the improvements we made today. Good work. Thank you very much. All right.
Take care. See y'all soon.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
thanks. Bye.